Now then, Nikki, you look as if you're connected, but I can't see you or hear you. Are you there?
Oh, I seem to be here.
Yeah, I thought you were. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, can you see me?
So if you click on yourself, on your own picture, there should be a video icon on there for you to switch your video on.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, that one. Oh, that's scary. That made me jump. Can you see it from there? Can you see the floor?
That feels better. That was very good.
That's a bit in your face, wasn't it? Oh, Alton. Oh, Alton, are you tired? Can you see the floor with it there? Can you?
No, not quite.
Oh, perhaps. So, down a bit
Yeah,
more.
that's better.
Quite sure how to do it, really.
Okay, how are you getting on?
Yeah, well, a couple of. We just sort of started jumping. She's sort of jumping up every time she sees anybody now, so which can be a bit of an issue because she's got jolly heavy paws. So I'm just trying to. If I try and keep treats with me, so when she jumps up, I throw sort of scatter treats around so she instantly goes down and then tell her good. Or if she sort of catches you unawares, I just put my hand out so she sort of touches the hand and then puts 4 paws on the floor. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, is it?
So the other really good way of dealing with it is to use a lure away. So you let her approach as long as she's approaching calmly, and after 1 or 2 seconds, you lure her away. If she tends to jump up straight away, then you do the lure away sooner. So you don't give her time to get into jump mode. And obviously the difficulty is that there's a lot of people out there who think that the puppy should be allowed to jump up and that, oh, it's only a puppy, and they'll encourage it. So as much as possible, try and avoid her getting involved with that kind of person that's going to encourage the jumping up. So the rules I have are you're not allowed to approach people if you're overexcited. I just won't do them. I just won't move at all towards them. So if you are excited, you're just not going to get access. So calm becomes the way to get access to people. And then if if she's got somebody and she seems calm, don't leave her there very long, 1 or 2 seconds maximum. because what tends to happen is that their arousal levels will start going up. So they might start the greeting really well and then start to lose it, start to not be able to control themselves.
Right.
So we do a lure away. So basically, you've got your lure ready in your hand. She's going over. She's going to do a greeting. She says hi, and then it's food on the face and lure her so she's facing you. So
Yeah.
lure away from the person, and then your food scatter on the floor is perfect.
Right.
Because then we hang out next to people sometimes, but I don't need to be involved with them.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So, hello, Claire. You managed to make it. Get you to unmute you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was trying to feed the kids and myself.
Surely, why feed kids? I mean, they're perfectly capable of going out and getting their own food, aren't they?
You would
So you
think
just
so,
kick them
but
out into
apparently
the
not.
street. I often think back to, yeah, my childhood. We were made responsible for feeding ourselves at a stupidly young age. But then, you know, I'm silly old. So, how are you getting on with Geordie?
Yeah, she's doing really good. Yeah, we've had a good week.
No complaints, no worries, no concerns. You've got a perfect dog.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, she is doing really well. I do feel like 'cause I'm in a little WhatsApp group with all her brothers and sisters, and I do feel like we got the best behaved one.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it is.
No, don't sit back on your laurels with that one.
Oh, no. Don't take it for granted.
Quite often the calmer, quieter puppies, once they start to find their feet, will be slightly more difficult adolescents.
Oh,
So,
dear. Okay.
You know,
George.
certainly very good. It tended to be more because they're slightly less confident, and as they grow their confidence, and then the hormones kick in.
Right.
You know, the naughtier, in inverted commas, behaviours start to happen. Okay, so on that subject though, and also which might answer some of Nikki's issues, is the subject of helping puppies to learn emotional and physical, which goes hand in hand, self-control. So control of their impulses, let's say, that they tend to see something and they want an instant response from that situation. So like with jumping up, for example, puppies tend to go over with their paws already in the air, you know, as they approach. So we need to help them to understand by guiding them that those behaviours are not effective. So it's a bit of a sticky subject with regards to the trainers and behaviourists that are up to date with the science, because can your dog ever actually learn to control their emotions? I tend to fall on the side of the yeses, because I always think to human child development, you know, we thoroughly expect that our 2-year-olds are going to be horrible, don't we? We expect that they're going to have complete meltdowns when they're not allowed to have their own way. And, you know, we don't get all stupid about that. We just say, oh, he's a 2-year-old and it'll grow out of it, you know. And I think we need to kind of think similarly with puppies. But just as you wouldn't allow your 2-year-old, or you shouldn't allow your 2-year-old human child to go and do whatever it is that's dangerous or is inappropriate for society. You know, you're not going to let them free in the supermarket and let them open all the packets and put their fingers in all the sweets and, you know, empty the bags of flour and crack the eggs. You do control them, you do physically restrain them, you do guide them and try and teach them appropriate behaviours. And I think that's more along the lines of what I think we should be doing with puppies as well, is not saying to ourselves, oh, it's only a puppy and it'll grow out of it, because I think to a certain extent it will, in that its emotional self-control will improve. But at the same time, whatever behaviours they're allowed to practice, then they're going to get better at. So basically what gets repeated will be reinforced. So what do? Well, there's quite a few games that we can play that can help them to learn to start to control themselves physically and emotionally. And the first game we're going to play will need for you to have some kind of a clear container. I'll show you what I'm using. It can be a dog food bowl. This is just a little bucket thing that comes from Chirag Patel's bucket game. He handed them out free when he started launching the bucket game. So something like that, and I want you to put some treats in it. If you go grab one of those, and we'll show you what you're going to do with. Just wait for it to get back. It's all right for those of us that are not having to supervise children all over the place. We're fine. Yeah, you're all right. Okay, so this is the game. I'll just put you on big view. The game is played silently, so we don't say anything. This is not about us giving verbal instruction. This is all about our body language, how we respond to the dog's behavior. And the game is, if you can hold yourself back and not try to put your nose into the bowl or try and approach the bowl will get more, you'll be more accessible, okay? So it starts as far away as it needs to be. So if your puppy's jumping up and getting overexcited, you start with your arm in the air. And you're not going to look down, you're not going to say anything to them, you're just going to hold the bowl in the air. This hand, your reward hand, is going to come to a resting place every time. So it's not hovering over your bowl, it's not hovering over your rewards. You lower your arm slightly. If your dog controls their impulse to jump, you put your reward hand into the bowl and you give a piece of food to your dog. Now you lower your bowl a little bit more. Yeah, now with puppies you'll find, I'm going to go through this quite quickly, but with puppies you'll find you'll have to do your lowerings in really small distances. Okay, so hand comes from its resting place, gives the dog a treat, goes back to its resting place, bowl comes lower, and we repeat. Now, at some point, I'll come back here so you can see him, at some point your puppy's going to get it wrong. They're going to, you know, he never wants to get it wrong when I want him to. They're going to approach the bowl. If they approach the bowl, we're going to simply lift it up, just enough, just enough. So if you start to lift it up and you see the puppy back off or put their feet back onto the floor, that's far enough. If they continue to jump up, it's going to go all the way up here. All right, so eventually the aim of the game, with the dog making good choices, eventually the bowl comes all the way to the ground and we're able to stand up between deliveries. So that he's holding himself back. I've not told him he's got to. I've not given him a command or a cue. The cue is when there is food around, control your urge to jump on it. Control yourself. Yeah, I'm not going to force him. And then if your puppy's doing really well, you can start adding your distance away from the food source. You come back, and I'm taking one piece from the bowl each time. Okay. Now the hardest parts for the puppy are as it comes past their nose. That's really hard. And as you take your hand off the bowl. So I want you to be doing really small changes in your body language for those two parts. Really small distance changes with the bowl. So I know I've gone from there to there, but literally for some puppies it's like this. And one reward each time they choose not to go towards it. They choose not to jump on that food. So give that a go. See how you get on. Is she asleep again? Oh, bless her. Well done, Claire. Don't worry, she'll join us when she's ready. Okay, that's nice. So beautiful. So as she moved towards you, you did the perfect thing. Your hand raised slightly. I like that. And now, yes, absolutely, you can reward her for having. She made that own decision, didn't she? You're not telling her or she went, oh no, that don't work. I'll just I'll sit myself still. Okay, nice. Well done. And as I say, this is the sticky bit. As you go past the nose, it gets really hard for them. It doesn't make sense to a puppy to see food right in front of them and just to walk away from it or to leave it alone or to sit back from it. They're all abnormal behaviors that we're asking. It's normal for a dog to take something that's available. You're doing really well. So I'm liking the fact that your hand is always going back to its rest position. You're not hovering over the bowl. I'm liking the fact that you're taking it in very small increments. You're not making it too hard for the dog. Make sure that you've seen that she's made a very clear decision before you move your reward hand, so that we're not causing them to look away from the bowl. We're just saying to them that's a good choice. Yeah, we don't want that reward hand to move so quickly that the dog just stops looking at the bowl. All right, so we'll leave that one there for now. You're doing a really good job, but I think it would take us a year to get all the way to the floor at that rate. It'll come. It comes really, really quickly. So I love that game, but we're going to play a few other games that are going to explain a similar idea to your dog. So if I see whether or not I can get you and Dodo on camera. So with this game, I've got a piece of food in my hand. Yeah. The aim is that he should be able to ignore that piece of food and hold himself back from it. If he approaches it, did you see all I do is close my hand? I'm not, again, it's non-verbal. Let's see if we can move you down here so you get a better view. It's a non-verbal. I'm not telling him off. I'm just, if he approaches the hand closes. If he holds himself back from it, that hand is going to zoom towards him and deliver. So it looks very different. So the second that he approaches, the hand closes. If he holds himself back, we zoom deliver. So let's see if we can make him get it wrong so that you can see. Okay, so he's not going to get it wrong. If your puppy jumps on your hand, starts biting at your hand, close it, keep it still, don't pull it away. Give them a few seconds to make a choice. If they really can't make that choice, then the whole hand goes away. Okay, don't take it all the way away straight away. Think about the bowl game. It's the same idea. If they're getting it wrong, you're only going to move just enough so that they can understand they made a mistake. Okay, if they're getting it wrong and they're really hurting you or badgering at your hand and you can't stand it, take it away. All right, but the more important part actually is the difference between here I am just with a piece of food in my hand and now it's yours. The delivery, the difference between the it's not yours and now it is yours is the important thing for the dog. Does that make sense? Any questions about that bit? No? Go on then, give it a go. There. As soon as she holds herself back, zoom it in. Beautiful. Nice. Okay. So, beautiful, well done. So the next part of that game would be to make sure that you can do the same with the other hand, that it's not just one hand, because dogs are so specific about their cues. If we only teach them when I've got food in my right hand, don't grab at it, they won't learn when I've got food in my left hand, don't grab at it, because they don't do that. They're not able to do that. Okay, so another little game, similar ideas, learning self-control. Really like this one because it's fun. I'll just move me, just get you to the edge so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so you need a handful of food. So you need quite a lot in your hand. And what you're going to do is you are going to come right down with your dog. We're going to put the food on the floor, but keep your hand on top of it. When your dog looks away from it, feed a piece of food from your reservoir hand. If your puppy approaches, cover the food. If they hold themselves back, feed away from. So that piece stays there. Okay, so cover it if they look at it, or they look as if they're going to approach it. When they hold themselves back, feed. So my reward hand, my food hand is behind my back. It doesn't move until the puppy's decided to hold themselves back. If they don't hold themselves back, I'm just going to cover it and prevent them from getting it wrong. Does that make sense? Yeah, try it and see. This is a patience game. As soon as they look away, the other hand comes flying in, but it put the payment away from the one you don't want them to have. So we're increasing distance. So what I would have done for the position that you're in just now, it would make more sense for the covering hand to be your left hand and the rewarding hand to be your right hand, yeah, just because of the position that she's in. Yeah, so wait her out, wait until she shows a self-control behavior. That one will do. There, and then reward her so she moves away from the one you don't want her to have. Nice, well done, timing wise. That's it, be patient. Self-control is difficult, so patience is the key. Don't ask for too much. Beautiful. Did you see that little shuffle? When she says to herself, I'll move away from that thing because that's what I'm getting paid for. Beautiful. And now she's not even going to bother looking at it. And you're ready to start the next part of the game. Good-o. We'll just wait until Nikki comes in. Here she is, look. So the next game is very similar, but much more fun. All right. So once you've got to that stage you just got to, Claire, where your puppy's kind of getting it. They're kind of getting off. So I don't get that one. But if I just hold myself back, there's going to be food over there. Okay, I can do that. So don't get that one. Don't get that one. Don't get that one. Don't get. Oh, hey, it worked. Yeah. All right. So the next game, then we're adding and we're making that same game a bit more difficult, a lot more difficult, if you like. Again, a bunch of food in your hands. You're going to come down with the dog. And we're going to put one on the floor and one in the dog. One on the floor, one in the dog. Okay, like that, until you've got a pile on the floor. Now, put your pile together to begin with so that you can pop your hand over it if you need to. So you're not setting yourself up to fail. So we pay the floor, we pay the dog. Yeah, once you've got your puppy doing that, you can start putting these on the floor in a more spread out way. And once you've got an advanced level puppy, you can start doing rotten things like putting it on their paws or spelling their name in front of them between rewards. Yeah? So we start at the level that they're capable of and we slowly grow it until they're able to leave all of those alone. And again, we're playing this game in silence. We're not telling them anything. We're not saying leave it or anything like that. We're letting them find out that what works is not going after that food. Okay, don't move your reward hand until you've got a decision from your dog. So we're not going to use that reward hand to distract them away from the food on the floor. We're going to use it to reward them when they've already decided not to go after the food on the floor. Okay, so again, Claire, remember she's only just started this, so try and make it as easy as possible for her to get it right. We don't want to get back into nag mode. We don't want to turn into humans. We want to think about what we're doing and setting the dog up so that they're likely to get it right. So if you have to, you go right back to the original game where it's in your hand, or you can go and do the bowl game instead. You slowly work them up to the ability to cope with there being something on view that they're not allowed to have. Saw that hand move a bit too quick. Beautiful pair. Nice pair. Yeah, remember to put that reward at a distance or pay it to the dog so that it's moving that face and that nose away from that leave it item. It's making it easier for them to understand that that one's not available, but this one is. Okay, so now you can start doing pay the floor, pay the dog, because she's made that choice to keep herself away from that item. What you should find with these canes is not only does it help them to control themselves with regard to that specific stimulus, that specific cue, that food that tells them eat me, but also what you should find is that emotionally they become calmer. They start to be thinking. You know, their bodies, you can see their brain switch on and they start clicking and their body slows down. So it's also a calming game, a thinking game. How did you get on, Nikia? You were off camera. Hang on, you're on mute, don't forget.
Oh.
It's all right, I've unmuted you. I did it. I didn't realise.
Yeah, no, I just sort of went into the, I think we need to sort of go back to the original steps that she slept through. Because I did a few of put it on the floor and then give to her, which was fine a couple of times. And she's like, no, actually there's a pile of food there. So then I covered it up and now she's just chewing my hand.
Yeah. So if you don't put the building blocks in and get the idea, then it's quite common. It's what we do. We quite often will take a dog, put them into a situation that they haven't actually got the skills to handle and expect them to be able to do it. And we're trying to get rid of those human expectations and realize that actually we need to make it easier and clearer for the dog so they can make good decisions. Okay, so when do you start adding things like leave it cues? When do you start actually telling them that's a leave it and that one you can have? Well, what I would say is when you can see that your dog is capable of making that choice and they're really good at it, then you could start telling them that's what I call a leave it. Yeah? Because until they're able to do that, then the risk is that all you'll be doing is saying this word and your dog won't understand it and they'll keep practicing going after the food and you'll just learn to repeat the cue over and over and over and the dog will never actually understand what you mean. So we want them to be able to make that choice first before we then start calling it something. Does that make sense? So if you don't honestly believe that your dog can make that choice, don't be starting to add the cue. Don't be saying leave it until you're willing to bet a serious amount of money that after you've said it, your dog's going to do it anyway. Yeah? All right. So things like barriers then, puppies are quite keen to get to the other side of a barrier, to get through a door, to push past us, to get towards something. And that's, again, that's normal. It's not normal to be super patient when you're a puppy. But what do we do about it? Well, it's almost exactly the same game. It's just a slightly different picture. So we're going to have a look at, I've only got one door and there's dogs on the other side of it, so I might need to do a bit of organising. But we'll have a look and see what we can do. So there's a door. Let's see whether or not. So for most dogs then, especially puppies, what's going to happen is as you go to open the door, they're going to charge towards it. And what I want you to think about is if this action of putting your hand on the handle means that there's going to be food back there, yeah? Every time I reach this way, there's going to be food back there. Where's the dog going to choose to be? Where's their preferred place to be? So if I put my hand on and I open it slightly and I actually end up with another dog, yeah? Well, me opening it slightly means there's going to be food back there. Me opening it a lot means I'm going to have lots of dogs. Yeah, don't start again. All right? So once you've got them understanding that you opening a door towards them like that means that there's going to be food back there. The other thing you can do is you can take a handful of food, throw it the other side to give them a good reason to want to get to that other side. Put your hand on the handle. Now, my little black one, maybe, she didn't have the benefit of this knowledge, okay? She didn't have this training. I wasn't taught this when she was tiny. So she still has a lot of frustration issues and a lot of self-control issues. So put your hand on the door, look at the face. I want to go there, that's fine, you can go there, but everybody else is going to get food back there. Hand on the door, where is she now? She's back there. Hand on the door starts creeping, food's back there. Yeah? Starting to, Twiggy says, there's the food bowl. Yeah, there we go. Not easy with 3. So remember there's food already out there in the hall that they're interested in, that they know is there. But this is about them choosing. Yeah? Now, if they move towards the door, my response is just going to be to close it. Yeah? But if they hold themselves back from the door, they're either going to get a reward back there or they're going to get a release. Go find. Go find. Go find. There's loads out there. Go find. You drive stone here. Yeah, I know. Dodo's got a load out there. She says, I'd rather stay with you and work. Okay. They do like to be in here when there's people on Zoom. They know there's going to be food around. Hello, monkeys. So, barriers. Have you got a door you can have a go with? You don't have to if it's really difficult to set yourself up. But don't worry if not. But if you can, have a go. Let's see how you get on. Might have to point it out for her. She said, I didn't see it go. Beautiful. So eventually, the functional reward for doors is that the door opens and you are allowed access to the other side. Yeah, because in the end, that's what the dog actually wanted. So the functional reward, in other words, the thing the dog wanted for that behavior of charging at the door was access to the other side. Eventually, the functional reward will be given for holding yourself back. Okay, so this isn't that you're going to have food with you all of the time, every time you want to go through a door. But if you can school yourself to have food available in safe places away from the dog, ready to go for when every time you want to go through a door, you can throw a piece of food backwards to tell them, hold yourself back, then eventually that will become a habit. The dog will start to hold themselves back. And then you can add a release word to allow them to go through the door. And I don't care if they go through the door before you, as long as it's safe. If you think about, it's not about having to be dominant to your dog and that you go through doors first. It's because sometimes when you open a door, it's not safe on the other side and you need that time period to check to see if it's okay. And if the dog gets into the habit, every single doorway that we go through, I just need to take a step back so the owner can take that first step or have that first look and then get released to go through it. Does that make sense? Any questions on that bit? It's all self-control tonight, isn't it? Okay. Ooh, two ways. What should I go for? Right, we're going to go with, what do you do when your puppy's in a real freaky mood and they're desperate for attention and you don't want them, you don't want to be touching them, you don't want to be talking to them, you want to rest or you're busy doing something else? What are you going to do? Well, what you end up doing, because you're a normal human being, is you end up saying no, 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 no. Yeah? And you drive yourself absolutely potty. And of course, from the puppy's point of view, if they've come over and they've asked for some attention and you've spoken to them, then they've got that attention. That behavior it's got a functional reward. It's got a reward that the dog wanted. So what do we do instead? Well, what we need to do is show the puppy what we would rather they be doing. So if you know, for example, you're going to want to have a nap, or you want to sit and read, or you're going to be doing something that involves your hands or your attention, then you can be doing things like teach them to go and lay on the mat and settle next to you, so you're rewarding them for settle. But I also like to have a kind of a not right now cue. Yeah, and I use the words go away, and sometimes the words aren't maybe as nice as that. Sometimes they are, different words, but my dogs also learn that that's what they mean. And we're going to show you how to teach a go away. Yeah. So again, it's the same principle as the bowl game. Hello. Here's a dodo. Okay. See whether or not we can do it with 3, but this might be a bit ridiculous. So they've got a really good reason to want to be on me and with me right now. I've got food in my hand. Yeah? So they want to be nagging at me, but it might not be food. It might be just boredom or attention. They whatever reasons, they want you. They want to be involved with you. And a lot of the time, that's lovely. A lot of the time we want that. So we don't want to be making the dog worried about coming over and asking us for attention. I like them to be able to come over and ask for a fuss or ask for a bit of attention. But when I don't want them, what I want to do is I want to give them a cue that tells them I'm not available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away. And the reward for doing that goes behind them. Goes away from me. Yeah? Go away. So it increases distance. So you remember when we were doing the food on the floor, I kept saying, put your reward further away. Well, I am the thing now. I am the leave it item. Does that make sense? Okay, so here they are, they want me, I'm going to say, go away. So I give other body cues as well as the verbal cue. As well as the verbal cue, you can see I'm also giving physical body cues. So I'm turning my head away from them, I'm taking my hands away from them, I'm turning my body away from them. I'm saying, with all of my physicality, I'm not available. Yeah, I'm squinting as well. You probably can't see that on video, but I'm squinting. I'm going, yeah. Now, one of the reasons I really like this, adding that physical cue, is because if they approach somebody in the future that isn't keen on dogs, doesn't want to be approached by dogs or sniffed by dogs, they will tend to do that same closed body language. You know, that will be their natural reaction. So if your dog starts to learn when you stand like that, then they need to hold themselves back from you, and it's going to be rewarded for if they hold themselves back from you, then they're more likely to learn it when somebody does it in the future. But you also, it's a good idea, I find, to have somebody practice doing that and you reward behind the dog. Go away. Okay, so even though Dodo isn't moving away from me, even though he's just sitting, I'm still going to reward it, but I'm going to reward behind him. So he's still getting moved away from me to get that reward. Does that make sense? So even though he's still, you know, you can see the girls go, all right then, and they back off and they do a down or whatever. And if I continued to say it, they would take themselves off. I've got this game going on behind me now. Just what you need when you're teaching class, isn't it? Are you done? Thank you. All right. So you can have a go at that if you like, or we can carry on to the next thing, whichever you prefer. But keep it in mind, again, we're instead of setting ourselves up, start nagging and getting upset, we're thinking, how can we teach the dog what I want them to understand? I want you to understand, when I say that cue, when I hold myself like this, when I take myself away, you need to move, you need to go away from me, and then I will reward you for making that choice. So that's what we call the no reward or attention cue. Go away, or you can call it whatever you like. As I say, my dogs are trained to a slightly ruder cue for that one as well. Okay, so we're going to play a game. I think it's important that everybody learns, if you can hear me over the sound of claws tapping on floors, is for them to be able to calm themselves down quickly. We're in a stimulating situation. So a stimulating situation which we can cause, and sometimes we cause by accident. Right, come on, there's got to be a bit less playing. Could you go out there? Come on. Come on. Yeah, it's you. You are the monster. Get off. So again, quite often we will make our dogs get more excited or more worried or more bitey by moving ourselves too much, by pushing them away, by trying to physically restrain them when they're overexcited. So there's a couple of different things I want you to think about here. Is if it's not safe to take your hands away from your dog because they're in a situation where, you know, you can't let go of the lead or you can't let go of the collar and you have to restrain them, then the way you hold them and what you do with your body while you're holding them is really important. the information that it gives to the dog. So what we're going to do here with our dodo is we're going to do a little restrain release game, and the restrain part has to be very small to begin with, split second. And what I'm feeling for is, does the dog stop struggling? The second that they stop struggling, I let go. It is not struggling, it is not moving, it is not panicking, which makes me release. Okay, so let's say he's just had a crazy panic attack and I've had to grab his collar because he's woofing at another dog, and that's not working. So I've taken my arms and my hands and I'm holding him close to me and I've got him in quite strong restraint. When he goes still, that's when I'm gonna let him go. Obviously in that circumstance, I'm not gonna let go of his lead. I'm not gonna let him go completely. But all I want you to do with puppies, what tends to happen is they're worried about restraint. So I want you to practice a little restraint. So I've got a gentle hand here and a gentle hand here, and I'm not pushing hard to begin with, especially with puppies. I'm going to hold quite gently, but they will tend to fight a little bit. And the second that they start fighting to get out, got to get a good grip. The second that they stop, that's when we let them go. Okay? Going to give them a bit of time off, so you're not doing it too much in quick succession, because that can make them more worried. And with the big ones, sometimes if you can't get a good grip this way, because your elbows, Dodo's just short enough for my elbow to have his waist. If that doesn't work, they're a bit too long, you can go with this one. So one under the belly, one under the neck. Yeah? And then release on the relax. Release on the relax. Okay, and again, with your physical body, what I want you to do is I want you to take a really deep breath as you get hold of them. There you go. Let it out really, really slowly. Okay, so what that does is, if you imagine from the dog's point of view, their body is right next to yours, that really deep breath that you take in will slow your heart down, yeah, will sound calmer to the dog, also because you're focusing more on your breath than you are on what they're doing. You're not gonna, your fight-flight system in your body is not going to cause you to be giving out stress hormones to them, yeah, so you feel calmer. All right, so you're going to grab, hold, wait for the relax, and when they're relaxed, we let go. As they get older, you can see with Dodo, he's like, oh, she does this, yeah, because we do it so often. As they get older, you're going to be holding for longer and you hold harder, because I'm imagining what happens if he's got a broken foot and they have to put a bandage on it, or they need to stick a thermometer up his bum, or they need to give a vaccination. I've got him really tight. His head's really locked inside my arm. His waist is, I'm lifting his waist slightly off the ground. Yeah? And he's just gone floppy. Yeah? Not because he's panicking that I'm going to hurt him, but because he's learned it's just something we do. It's something we do together. All right? So the next one then is a little game called Wind Up, Calm Down. And what we're going to do, we're going to take our glasses off, because we're properly going to get the wound up. They're going to start kicking us in the face. And we're going to get them playing rough. Wind them up on purpose. And the way you wind them up is you do little bites with your hand on the dog, and you tap their faces and you push them away from you. Yeah, and when they start to get overexcited and too bitey, you suddenly take everything away. Yeah, and we stay like this until the puppy properly calms themselves down. We're not going to start that game again while they're still looking at us, expecting it to start. And I'm slowly changing my body language back to normal human. Yeah? And then I'm going to make it very obvious. So he's preempted me there and he thinks I've started the game again. We're going to make it very obvious when we're happy for the game to start again. So we're going to have a play with me body language. We're going to scrungy hands and bitey hands and movement, movement, movement and verbal, come on, get it, like this. And then when they start to get excited and bitey, we go, oh. And wait as long as it takes. I know that we've got some, yeah, overexcitement. Some puppies do get overexcited and they show these silly behaviours, these silly arousal behaviours. We just wait for those to stop. We wait for it all to go calm. We wait until they're properly calm before we then re-invite the game. Now, if your puppy gets over-aroused too high, too quick, make the wind-up sessions shorter and the calm sessions longer. All right, so you wind up for a few seconds and then you calm down. Yeah, if your puppy's really good at staying calm and self-controlled while you're playing, then you can slowly make the play sessions and the wind-up sessions longer. So what we're looking for is being able to control your bite, control your overexcitement in order to make the game continue. We want them to know if you get overexcited and bitey, the game stops. Yeah, and what you'll see there is that was beautiful. For that split second, Nikki, your little one was just considering calming themselves down, but was right on the edge of the wave. If you imagine arousal is like a wave, we were right on the top of the wave and we couldn't decide whether to back off and just ride the wave or to go completely over the top into arousal. Yeah, so there's a split second where I saw the dog trying to think about it. Oh, nice. So what you got there with Georgie was a shake off, which is a sign that they're trying to control themselves, that they're trying to shake off that arousal. And what I really like about this game is if you do it right, the dog will start to try to calm you down when you're making the arousal part, the play part, the rough play part, longer and more intense. What you'll find is the dog will start to go, oh no, let's calm down a bit, you know, and they'll start to do that body language to you. They'll start to take themselves back from you a bit. They'll start to go stiller and calmer. So that's that was it. If you want to learn about that one, the write-up for that one is Wind Up, Calm Down by Ian Dunbar. So it's in Ian Dunbar's puppy books. Okay. So the next thing is conditioned calm. One of the things that we tend not to do very well as humans is notice when the dog is offering behaviours that we're going to want a lot of in the future. So we're reactive species. We will wait until something happens and then we'll react to it. When actually what we need to try and do with dogs is be more proactive. We need to notice when they're doing things that are going to be good for us in the future. So I want you to really notice every time your puppy is laid down or is away from you chewing on their own toys, or is doing something that's going to make it easier for you to live with them in the future. And I want you to acknowledge and reward that. Okay, so that sounds a bit weird. And it can be really difficult because it's not natural for us to notice when something's going right. We tend to only notice when things are going wrong. What I want you to do is I want you to really switch your brain on to, oh, my dog isn't bothering me. Good dog, have a treat. Yeah. Oh, my dog's asleep. I'll just leave the treat right next to her nose so that when she wakes up, she's going to have a treat there waiting for her. Yeah. Notice when they're doing things, when they're chewing their own toys, that's when you want to get involved and chase them around and get excited with them because they're chewing their own toys. They're not hassling your stuff. So anything that might be a really good fit for how you want to live with your dog in the future, get in there and notice that and reward it. Don't be waiting for things to go wrong. Okay? Any questions at all about today? Any comments about today? No wiggles. You want to go, Nikki? No, not Nikki. Claire. Hi, Claire.
Yeah, she did really well. We did need to do that training that we did at the end because she does jump up the kids and they get her so excited. So yeah, we'll definitely work on that. That was really good.
Kids are really good at this game, you know. Once you've explained the rules to them, once they understand that to help the dog to learn to be calmer, they need to go still. Kids are fabulous at it, you know, because they can feel, and I think it's almost, if you've got sensible kids, it's almost better to let them do this training because they're the ones that can feel. Is she biting harder? Is she scratching harder? Is she, you know, and they can be the ones that can go, oh, no, that's wrong. Yeah, and they love it. They love the fact that they can actually help the dog to learn to control themselves. All right? Happy people? Yes? Thumbs up for me. And we'll say goodbye. Thank you very much. See you later.